how do you follow up one of the best and most innovative survival horror games of the decade? You might think the answer lies in making a game that reinvents the wheel a second time, but Visceral Games has thoroughly done away with that assumption with Dead Space 2, a game that sticks to its roots while perfecting a tested formula to create a fresh and awesome experience that's even better than the original. Dead Space 2 takes place 3 years after the events of the first game and is set in the Sprawl, a metropolis built into Titan, one of Saturn's many moons. This environment looks and feels far more expansive than the ship you were trapped on in Dead Space 1, and the game uses it to its advantage. The game does an excellent job of changing the horrifying elements of Dead Space to suit the Sprawl. Being set in a metropolis means a lot of things for Dead Space 2. It means more people, dead and otherwise, and it means bigger environments. Visceral Games has done fantastic things with these changes. Gone is that overwhelming sense of isolation that haunted you through the halls of the Ishimura. In its place is the feeling of immediate panic as you race around the Sprawl attempting to survive. The Sprawl also immediately feels like a large inhabited city. You encounter far more living people than you ever did in the first game, and from the very beginning you find yourself battling waves of the undead. It may seem like a little thing, but this sense of scope really adds a lot to the game's atmosphere. One of the biggest changes in Dead Space 2 is that your character has a voice. Isaac Clarke has been given words, and he uses them quite often. Another thing the game changes up is the way the story is presented. While you still do the vast majority of necromorph slaughtering by yourself, the game introduces you to several intriguing characters. These characters are a major addition to the way you play Dead Space. The superb dialogue, voice acting, and character animations make the game feel all the more like a true cinematic experience. Adding to the fun is a hardly redesigned but entirely streamlined combat system. Isaac Clarke aims truer, feels lighter, and moves faster than he did 3 years ago, and it makes for a more exciting blockbuster experience. This doesn't detract from the horror, however, as your necromorph enemies have also been hard at work devising new ways to kill you. There are several new types of enemies to deal with in this game. Some of them display intelligence and will hide behind cover, while others will charge at you in large numbers. Further still, there are necromorphs who will spit bile and acid at you from a distance, so while Isaac's techniques may have been revamped, they are sure to be tested. The campaign is a shining example of what a survival horror game should be, and to top it all off, it looks and sounds great. Great lighting effects really set the mood, while highly detailed environments and enemies really suck you into the terror. It should take you about 8 to 10 hours to finish if you've played the original, and probably even longer if you're new to the series. There really isn't much wrong with the single player portion of this game, but that's not all you get with Dead Space 2. Dead Space 2 does have a multiplayer component, and it's a blast when you've got some people to play with. And the game does allow you to create matches with friends pretty easily. The only problems with the multiplayer are its limitations. There are only 5 maps, each of which is host to basically one game type. 4 humans are pitted against 4 necromorphs, the humans have to complete an objective before the time runs out, and the necromorphs have to stop them. The multiplayer in Dead Space 2 is very similar to Left 4 Dead's Versus mode, so if you were good at that, you'll have no trouble getting used to it. It forces you to work together in the same ways, and it's a hell of a lot of fun in the same ways. The only difference is the levels don't take an hour to complete. Overall, the multiplayer feels a bit tacked on, but there's still a lot of fun to be had with it. Even if the multiplayer is a bit lacking, the game makes up for it tenfold with its real star, a stellar campaign that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Another thing I'm sure a lot of fans will be glad to hear is this: the game has a satisfying ending. Many of us were left hanging at the end of Dead Space, and while that feeling of wonder isn't entirely gone from the series, a much larger sense of accomplishment and fulfillment awaits you at the end of Dead Space 2. Thanks for watching this review from Intense Gaming TV. For information on the latest games, be sure to head over to our website at intensegamingtv.com. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to like and subscribe, as your support really does help us out. Also, Intense Gaming TV is happy to announce that upon reaching 250 subscribers on this channel, we will be launching our first contest to show our appreciation of your continued support. Thank you.